Hey guys, Joe here, and welcome back for another episode. Today I am at Town Hall 10, and let's go ahead and get you Town Hall 10 some bowler action. This strategy is very easily compared to the Town Hall 11 mass bowler sweep, and it's actually been pretty hard, guys, to track down 3-star attacks for Town Hall 10 versus Town Hall 10, and it's not necessarily because of poor attackers or anything. It's just the simple fact that the Town Hall 11s have the Grand Warden at their disposal. And I really feel that the Grand Warden plays a huge role in these mass attacks, whether it's both miners or the bowlers. And the Eternal Tome ability actually carries them through a large bulk of traps and the Inferno Towers. And it's just really hard to compare to a Town Hall 10. I can't sell this strategy as a 3-star strategy every single time, because as you see here in the video, we have a lot of Town Hall 9 defenses. However, there's very great execution done here, but the defenses just don't equal up to the same defenses as a max Town Hall 10. So what I will say is that this strategy is a high percentage 2-star and 3-star if your heroes match up. So like I said, you must have the level 2 bowlers and max healers, and you need to take your hero levels into consideration when performing this attack. The base layouts, it's all base dependent, but this strategy actually is best on the symmetrical type bases, whether it's anti 3-star or anti 2-star. It doesn't necessarily matter. If you place the bowlers on the outsides for setting up the funnel and they work their way in and join the rest of the group, they will ultimately sweep the rest of the base, and it is all left up to how many bombs and traps they hit in the process on whether they're going to make it to the other side of the base. So today we're going to walk through this strategy and try to get you some more ideas, a couple of different compositions and ways of using the compositions. That way you can actually apply it in your wars and hopefully get those 2-stars that you need up top if you're in a smaller clan, or even get those 3-stars if you have the hero levels to support it. So let's go ahead and get in this next raid, and let's go ahead and review the base. This is an anti 3-star layout, and the troop composition that's actually brought here is 21 bowlers, 6 healers, some wizards and archers for back-end cleanup. He's got golem in the clan castle and a giant, but I would actually highly recommend that you switch that to 7 giants, because the golem, well, you'll see why in a minute. And then also 2 rage spells, 2 jump spells, 1 freeze spell for the back-end Inferno Tower, and then 2 poisons for that enemy clan castle. So what he ultimately does here is he drops, it's pretty simple stuff. You drop 4 bowlers down here in the south with 3 healers, and then you drop 4 more bowlers up here in the north with 3 healers, and you want to give them a few seconds to take out a couple of these structures to set up the funnel, and we ultimately want them to turn in towards each other and not really go outside. And then we're going to drop our clan castle with the giants, and then drop the remainder of the bowlers behind them a little spread out. That way they can start taking out these structures and start moving their way in, followed by the Barbarian King and the Archer Queen. And you're going to place a jump spell where this cannon's sitting, and then once the bowlers cross in, you're going to get a rage down and start moving them through the base pretty quick. Another jump right here, and possibly another rage if they kind of stick together. Really, the bowlers in masses all together hitting the same targets is what makes this raid successful, and what gets them moving through and gutting out the core of the base, taking out the larger damage per second dealing defenses like the Inferno Towers and the Expos, and also the heroes as well as the clan castle. So let's go ahead and get this one live for you, so that way you can see for yourself what's actually happening here. 4 bowlers in the south, 3 healers. 4 bowlers in the north and 3 healers, and he's actually given them a couple of seconds to clean up the outside structures of the base. Drops that jump spell and the other jump spell leading to the core of the base. Drops that clan castle golem and his 2 heroes, and you see how the bowlers are starting to turn in towards the rest of the group. Gets the remaining bowlers onto the map, and they start working their way in. Drops that rage spell and speeds them up, increasing their power. And they start working into that core of the base, and they start to really just kind of take over at that point. Gets the poisons down a little late, but he actually gets them down on those minions while the Archer Queen is behind taking out the minions while the bowlers work. Bowlers are getting a little distracted at this point and not moving through the rest of the base, but the healers have now shifted to that golem in the north, and this is actually where it's a problem by bringing a golem due to his 30 housing space and him taking consistent damage. Is that the healers, if come in contact with a golem, they will lock onto a golem and stay on him instead of shifting back and forth to the bowlers like need be, unless the bowlers stay with the golem and they get healed as a whole like they are right now. But that's just too much of a risk sometimes, and it can be a deciding factor on whether it's an actual 2-star attack or a 3-star attack. And at this point in the raid, this is where that high level queen comes into play, and she's working on taking out a lot of those structures in the south. The bowlers are up in the north working on a wall because they just can't get through. The level 2s are just a little bit short of damage per second from the level 3, so they can't really tear through these walls very fast, especially when there's only like 3 or 4 like there is right now. And he's also got those archers working on a couple of those structures on the back end of the attack, so having those last couple of archers and wizards working on those outside structures assists these remaining bowlers on getting through the remainder of the base while that Archer Queen is working on yet another wall. It's just a very slow cleanup process, and it's also down to time on whether you're actually going to get that 3rd star or not. And if you actually paid attention to the healers lasting throughout the remainder of the raid, let's go ahead and speed this one up and get through the remaining portion of it. 3-star attack using that strategy. This is a different base layout and a different approach to it. Actually, a ring type base for a Town Hall 10, very similar to the ones that we're seeing at Town Hall 11. Large bulk of high damage per second dealing defenses in the core. The Archer Queen is doing a queen walk, and he's taking on these defenses that are mostly high level Town Hall 9 defenses, fairly rushed, or not really rushed, but not very productive Town Hall 10 here in the defensive range. So this Archer Queen is a level 31, so she's being able to work through this portion of the base. Not a lot of heavy defensive concentration going on these outer perimeters of the walls. It's a lot of junk structures that you would normally see on the outsides of the walls on most bases. Opens up and gets her working on that northern side of the base, and then he starts working in his golem in the clan castle and a handful of bowlers, followed by that Barbarian King here in a second. And he kind of splits this base with the intent to get the bowlers to go on the outsides of the base, and he's not really too focused on the core quite yet. I think he was intending for that Barbarian King to actually go to the core, but instead he didn't. And this is where his patience comes into play. He drops a couple of bowlers to see where they go first before dropping the remainder of those bowlers to go to the core of the base. The group in the south is working, and once that bowler targeted that Inferno Tower in the core, he dropped the remainder of his bowlers to go straight to the core of the base. Very smart in the sense of patience and what the bowlers actually targeted and paying attention for that crosshairs on where they would go. Uses a rage on those last couple of bowlers in the core, and they just straight out gut it right away. Get a little held up on a couple of skeleton traps, drops a earthquake spell to weaken those defenses, and those 4 or 5 bowlers work out and take out that last IT and the Tesla, while the Archer Queen really came into no defensive struggles in the north, so he didn't need a rage spell for her to keep her alive. He did have to use her Royal Cloak ability, but she's maintained her health throughout the remainder of the raid with the healers that were on her. And then also in the south, he's got a couple of bowlers, and his Barbarian King is still working with that golem leading the way. So the level of defenses came into play here, and he really just used the poor defensive layout against the defender by being patient with the troop drop and making sure that they targeted the core like they needed to. So this is just a couple of ideas for you to go out there and try to emulate what you're seeing the Town Hall 11s do. And I hope you were able to get a couple of ideas. Pay attention to the base layouts and your own hero levels prior to jumping in and trying to do this thing. But expect some high percentage 2-stars until you work out the timing on this strategy overall. Drop some comments below and let me know what you think. And thanks for watching, y'all.